Hello, everyone. It's me, Allison. The show is about to start, but just real fast, a quick reminder. I want to tell you guys, if you are doing some shopping, perhaps some Black Friday shopping, holiday shopping, etc.,
like Christmas type shopping,
any sort of shopping at all, I have put together some lists on Amazon.
Lists with things
stuff
on them?
Daniel, just pipe down for 1 second. Beauty stuff, makeup stuff, home stuff, kids stuff, podcast equipment, books I recommend, all of this stuff. And
Daniel's stuff?
Oh, yeah, Daniel's Corner, where I put stuff that I know that he likes. But Daniel has recently gotten way more involved, and he put together a special Christmas spectacular gift guide for you.
You guys will not even believe it. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what's on there, but it's literally some things.
Lots of things. And a whole big caption explaining his process. If you know
someone who's exactly like me, they are going to love it.
And here's where you go to see all of this. Amazon.com/shop/Allison Rosen. Amazon.com/shop/Allison Rosen.
And we'll be adding to it.
It's nonstop, you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the show.
Bye.
You guys, I lied. I said the show was starting right now, but I have one more quick announcement. I'm co-hosting a new podcast. It's brand new. It's called Upworthy Weekly. I'm co-hosting it with a guy named Todd Perry, who I'm having so much fun with, although he is wrong about so many things, especially Christmas music, but also other stuff. But anyway, Upworthy Weekly, we come out on Saturdays. Please give it a listen, subscribe. If you like what you're hearing, leave us a comment, a review on Apple Podcasts. That helps out the show so much, especially because we are brand new. As I've said, between 1 and 4 times right now, I've lost track. But anyway, please give it a listen. It's a lighthearted news podcast. We're taking a look at the most popular and engaging stories from the week before that ran on Upworthy. And it's just what your holidays need. And then when we're past the holidays, it's just what that part of the year needs. It's just exactly what you need. Please listen to it. Upworthy Weekly, new episodes every Saturday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Allison Rosen is your new best friend. Allison, with her the good times never end. Allison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Allison Rosen. Allison's your new best friend.
Hey everyone. Hi. Hello. Welcome to another episode of Allison Rosen is your new best friend. I'm very excited to bring in my guest in a moment. But first, I must chat with my producer, Tony Thaxton, a.k.a. the self-professed bad boy of podcasting. Hello.
Hello. How's it going?
I know that you hate when I say self-professed, and it makes me do it more. I'm sorry.
No, I don't even hate it, and I wasn't even going to comment on it. I was like, we comment on it too much. We'll let things go. You know,
we do. Maybe in 2021 we get a new shtick. What do you think? Or 2022? You might be late to do it in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, we could try and squeeze one in for 2021. Why not?
No, I'm not ready.
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
That's fair.
So we got to bring in our guest. I can't wait to talk to him. But quick question for you, Tony. As you know, last night we recorded a Thursday episode, and I brought up a topic I'm always fascinated about: how people shower routines, excuse me, all that. Now, my husband Daniel said to me this morning that he felt that it got almost pornographic. Did you feel that way? And I know I'm putting you in an uncomfortable position because I do pay your bills. Not your bills, your checks. I pay you. So I know you're in an uncomfortable position, but what are your thoughts?
I'm not uncomfortable. No, I know what he's saying, but because it got a little detailed at times, but like I think calling it pornographic is a little far. There was no
Did you feel it got clinical?
No, I think it was just people giving some in-depth descriptions. There was no it wasn't anything too graphic.
Yeah.
There was no penetration of anything.
I mean, just like I think when I discussed giving the water access, I think that's where it maybe crossed a line. I don't know.
I like that you just go ahead and just go there again, though. When talking about being concerned, then you throw out the thing you were the most concerned about.
Oh, no, I'm not concerned. I think he had a reaction, but that's his business.
Yeah, he doesn't have to listen.
That's right. Look, it's yin and yang. There's me just blabbing too much, and then there's him, the voice of restraint occasionally that I like to ignore. Anyway, enough of that. Things are good with you, Tony?
Good enough.
Cool. Yeah. That's what we aim for.
Yeah, this isn't about me today.
All right.
I'm just giving you my real answer.
Your real answer.
We don't have to get detailed because we got a guest waiting. So
okay,
it's a tease for everybody.
Yeah. Well, listen. If at some point you feel compelled to let us know what's standing in between good enough and great, you just get right on that mic and you just tell us, okay?
All right. I mean, good enough might even be pushing it, but we'll move on.
Oh, are you at you've been better? You've been better. The holidays are hard. Did I not discuss feeling like I was getting teabagged by the holidays like very recently? And a lot of people also feel that way.
And as you know, I love Christmas, but last couple have been real tough for the old fax man. And hoping this one's better, but we'll see. Yeah.
Are you going home?
Yes, it's a complicated thing. I might be doing a big old road trip with Bentley.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Nice.
To then take him to who's going to take care of him while I'm on tour.
Oh, and you don't know yet?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, you're going to take him to the person who's taking care of him while you're on tour.
Yeah, I think my family's going to watch him.
Yeah. Well, you're going on a big tour, and I could imagine getting all the ducks in a row is stressful.
It's not even so much that. It's more just I'm ready for it. It's been a tough time, and I'm ready I need a change right now.
Yeah.
I could just use something to break up the monotony, and so I'm very excited for that. But
me talking about how I shower isn't enough razzle dazzle in your day.
Well, there's bright spots here and there.
I know what you're saying. I think I think a lot of people are feeling that.
Yeah.
Especially with because of the way we've been living for the last I forget how many months it is. It feels like 2 years.
Yeah, I mean,
it's almost 2 years.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. But you know what's going to be a bright spot in your day today, Tony? Meeting our guest. He is a true multi-hyphenate author, New York Times bestselling author, content creator with millions of followers, an entrepreneur, humanitarian, a guy who has so many plants. I am jealous of his ability to keep them alive. His latest book, I'm holding it up, youtube.com/Allison Rosen. If you're just listening, but you want to see the book, go to youtube.com/Allison Rosen. It's called House Fires. Please put your hands together for Connor Franta.
Some refer to me as the professional day brightener. So that's today. Let's do it.
Tony.
That's the goal.
Tony, get ready. He's here to brighten your day.
You're lucky. It's
ready.
Me.
How are you doing, Connor, on the scale of good, not great to great?
I'm fine. I feel like I'm fine. I don't know. In comparison to how a lot of people are doing, I just think I'm fine. It's not great. It's not bad. It's just it, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You, do you identify as an introvert?
I'm somewhere in between. I definitely have heavily introverted tendencies, but after not 3 specifically, but after a few days of doing nothing with nobody, I get the itch that I need to see people.
Mm-hmm. So how have you handled that in the pandemic?
In the beginning, it was very weird. I think I conditioned myself over the years because I've always worked from home. The luxury of creating your own content and being a content creator of sorts is that you control your workflow, and most of it takes place in your home. So everyone has been getting fancy Zoom setups, lighting equipment, cameras, and everything to work from home. Bitch, I've already had that. I've been here.
You invented that.
I've been doing this pandemic for a decade, minus the illness, minus the death and the terror. Well, a little bit of terror. But so for me, it was almost nothing new. But then as soon as, there were like forced lockdowns and the fear of actual death added onto it, then it started getting a little bit anxious for me. I'm an anxious person. So that was more where I started getting stressed, was just like the actual anxiety of it all.
Right. How are you doing with anxiety currently?
Good. I think I manage it pretty well. I feel like I talk about it ad nauseum, but I run to manage my stress. So I work out and do walks, runs, and general fitness. And that seems to, manage my good chemicals and my bad chemicals and my good thoughts and my bad thoughts.
It's crazy that it could be as simple as running. I bet it's not as simple as running, though.
I mean, I think I'm lucky in that it's gotten to that point. It did take, years of practice, years of therapy, and years of self-discovery to get to the point where I think running is now the part that keeps me at that certain threshold. But now it is almost that simple. I feel like if I go for a run every morning, my dopamine and my serotonin are sky high, and there's like almost no way for me to go below the floor. Like I just feel like I'm always standing on my 2 feet or flying a little bit high.
Right. So something I was wondering when I was, it feels weird to say consuming your content. That almost feels like there's something cannibalistic about that. But when I was,
it's a little disgusting.
Yeah, I've been so disgusting ever since for years now.
I was heavily invested in the shower conversation. I wanted to chime in about 6 times. I'm like, what was the description here?
Well, I'll tell you. So, okay. I have recently...
Like, you don't know what you've done.
Yeah, you don't... Are you...
Listen, I'm gay. We all know, like, I hear the most disgusting, vile things every day. And so just go for it.
Okay. So I have recently gotten on TikTok and been watching. I know I'm very late to it. I just felt like I was not a fan of Instagram Reels, and I felt like I don't need an app that's exclusively Reels. And then I, got there and I was like, oh my God, everything that people say about it is true. It is addictive and creative and blah, blah, blah. So I somehow ended up watching this woman who is like, if you didn't have a mom to teach you these, even though I do have a mom, but she teaches you like all these lessons about things like you should have learned growing up. And one of them is how to shower. And she explains that you should have one hand for your front bits and one hand for your back. And so one for me, one for my vagina, one for my butt. And when you're in the shower, like make sure, and she doesn't use that word because I guess you can't use, right? You can't use bad words.
There's
on
a
TikTok.
line. I have no idea which words you can and can't use. And I'm always walking a line of like, now I feel like a 12-year-old idiot that's just not trying to say a swear word, even though it's what I would normally say. I have no idea.
Yeah, she calls
your hoo-ha or something.
She calls it your Gucci, like the brand. And I couldn't even figure out why. And I'm like, oh, for coochie.
Yes.
Anyway, so her whole thing is like, don't, keep the hands separated.
Okay.
And I think the idea being...
Because if there's soap involved, does it really matter?
Oh my God, where were you when we recorded the group show last night, Connor? Because that was my point.
I feel like in theory, yeah, if there's soap, why would it matter?
Well, so that was my point. So we all went on a long journey of shower discovery, starting with like who uses washcloths, who doesn't. Some people are very passionate about washcloth usage. I don't. So I was saying I get in there, I lather up my hands, and then I wash the front, and then I wash the back, and same hand involved. And I think here's the part where my husband was like,
too much.
This is too much, was when I said, and then I turn towards the water and then I spread the area and get, rinse out. Yeah. And then I turn around, bend over, spread it. not entirely bend over, but just, I'm even going further than last night.
Human origami. I'm picturing me walking in. You're just like, you're in like a hexagon shape somehow.
That's right. That's
you're a tetrahedron.
You don't even know where my head is at this point. It's just
oh my God. Is it up your ass?
My head is in my ass. I go full Ouroboros. No,
that's
I
sweet.
just incline. No, I turn away from the water a little bit to, get the water all in there, and then I'm done. But the question is, am I doing it wrong? Because I just feel like exactly what you said, because I'm lathering up, it's all good.
Yeah, I just don't see any problem with it. I feel like this just is this shows how bored. This shows exactly what you were both talking about of like, are we 2 years into the pandemic or not? It doesn't matter. The fact that we're having these conversations with such intensity means we're 2 years into isolation. But
so
I think what you're doing is perfectly fine.
Thank
and
you.
You are just wonderful. So
thank you. Well, now we have to know, how do you shower?
I think a very similar way. The whole time I was nodding with extreme approval because it feels very similar. I know that there was this whole debate online for a while of like, do you wash your legs?
Right. Or do you just let the lather run down?
And I think since then I've paid far more attention to parts of my body washing that I probably was washing, but I also don't have a strong memory of washing. Kind of going out. It's like driving. I'm like, wow, did I stop at that stop sign? I think I did.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure I did, but I didn't like actively say, I will now stop at this stop sign.
Right.
I will now wash my legs.
Right. It's rote.
But there is a spread eagle moment involved in mine as well. So it's a lot of get the crevices, get all the important bits. Everyone says it's like armpits, butts, anywhere along that. That's the more important part. Your legs are not as important as people think.
Now, are you washing your face in the shower?
Yes, but there's a lot more facial care that goes into like when I wake up and before I go to bed. So it is getting washed, but that's not like where my skincare routine comes into play there.
But when you're washing your face, is it at the beginning or at the end? Because I do it. That's the last thing I do to get because if like some conditioner is dripped onto my face, I don't want to break out from that or whatever. But then given the whole conversation, I'm like, oh, I'm using my butt hands on my face.
But it had soap on it. It's fine.
Thank you, Connor.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could be a butt face. I don't really know at this point. That is definitely what like 10-year-old me would have clung on to in this conversation. You're a butt face. No, I think I've started washing my face at the beginning and I do conditioner at the beginning. I don't use shampoo like most days. Apparently you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to wash your hair that often, apparently. And then wash my face, and then my body's usually last.
Okay. That seems to be that is what emerged as the common way. Tony, I think you're going to have to hit that gal chat drop because we're going to need to talk about shampoo and conditioner for a moment. I do want to get into your book and your life and all that stuff, but I also enjoy this.
It's whatever. It's whatever.
Okay. So, thank you. Only shampoo some days and but conditioner more often. How's that working for you? Are you liking the results?
Great. Yeah. I think it's less of like, how do you know if you're clean, and more I just know that I look better when I do that. Like my hair lays more correctly when it's shampooed and it's super clean. It's just like super straight and kind of straw-like. When it's had like a little bit of conditioner in it 3 days in a row, it starts to get that like a little bit more of a greasy look, and that's what I feel like it looks best. So I more do it because I'm vain and less because I'm clean.
Well, I feel like that's why most of us do most things.
Yeah, I'm with you.
100%. Yeah.
And then lastly, what kind of shampoo and conditioner are we talking about?
Oh God, I've been switching them a lot lately. I feel like my conditioner at the moment is like Native brand. So it's an eco one with probably like no sulfate or something. And then I think my body wash is like Trader Joe's peppermint or something. Again, like another eco-friendly one. Yeah, it's usually a peppermint something. But most of it, I've switched off all the sulfates. Everything I use, there's like no aluminum in my deodorant, all that kind of stuff. Do I know if it does anything? No. It's like organic produce. I don't know if it's worth the extra dollar or not. I have no idea.
Right. A recent guest of ours, theme park journalist Carly Wiesel, we were talking about skincare, and she was saying that she doesn't like to use sunscreen because of all the chemicals in sunscreen, and like, which is worse for you, the sun or sunscreen? And I was like, definitely the sun is worse for you.
I would assume. I think so too. Sunscreen is what everyone says is the most important part of a skincare routine. So
exactly. But her skin is pretty perfect. It seems to be working for her, unless it was that Zoom filter doing overtime.
Yeah. We'll ask her in like 30 years. We'll see. We'll see who's wrong here. Who dies first?
Yes. Now, on that uplifting note, Connor, I wanted to ask you a question. So we should explain your book. It's the last book in a trilogy. Yes.
Essentially, yeah. If I wanted to capture my 20s, so the beginning of my 20s, I'm now at the end of my 20s, and this is, I guess, in theory, the end of the trilogy of your 20s, but who knows?
If there's a fourth, is there a word for a 4-part series? A quadrilogy? Quadrilogy?
Yes.
That it rolls off the tongue.
Oh, yes. Yes, I won't challenge you on that one.
I don't think that's a real word. So this book it's photographs, it's poems, it's essays, and are the other two like that as well, the same format?
The second one is, the first one is not. The first one is there's no poetry and no like short wordplay in the first one. The second one is very similar format to this one. I find it's easier for like the modern brain to consume content in that way. It's very difficult, I found, to read text heavy books no matter what the topic is. So I like to alleviate some of that pain and that stress with pretty photos and beautiful colors.
Right. It's like if TikTok were a book. It's actually really not like that, though. It's not like that at all.
I was like, wait a minute.
No, it's not like that at all. But I was just thinking, when you're saying that for the modern, you're like breaking it up for the modern brain. Exactly. There's an overlap there with the idea that we don't have the attention span for something dense.
Oh, we don't. Mine's gone. It's probably because of TikTok, but it's melted. I can't pay attention to anything.
But was your decision to change format between the first and second book strictly for the reader, or was there something about that format that spoke to you too?
Kind of both. I knew that it would be it was almost like a way to tell a story with multiple different point of views. So you could tell the story in the obvious way with an essay and really kind of get into the nitty-gritty of it, which doesn't tend to happen in a YouTube video. But then I wanted to approach it from a more artistic standpoint with the poetry. So it's a little bit more abstract, but it can add a little bit more depth in such a short way that captures the same feeling or emotion I was trying to invoke. And then the photo, I just happen to take lots of photos. I carry a film camera with me everywhere. So the photo coincides with it, whether it's an abstract way or a direct photo from the experience.
Did you study photography? You're so good.
Oh, thank you. I only took like a couple classes, but I'm self-taught.
Very impressive. So you describe, and I love this image. You describe yourself as like a bowling ball that has been thrown and like went into an alternate lane.
I very much feel that way from a multitude of reasons. I mean, I grew up in the Midwest. I was in the closet until I was 20 years old. I was studying business, was probably going to work at Target Corp and have a wife and kids and just live that life. And then somewhere along the way, I found myself in California with a YouTube channel with 5 million subscribers. I have a house in California. I have a life in California. I'm out of the closet. I, for a while, was like one of the bigger faces of the queer community, which was weird. Like all of this stuff that wasn't supposed to happen somehow magically happened at the same time. And I really did just feel like it was a total happy accident. Was not according to my plan. I don't even think I had a plan.
And what was the thing that made the ball skip lanes?
I think it was following sort of like an instinct or a gut feeling. Because when I was pretty unknowingly or slightly knowingly at the time depressed in college, but I was doing well. I had a lot of friends. I had a pretty decent GPA. I was very involved, everything. So it wasn't that I left because I felt like I had to. It was more because during that time period, my YouTube channel like hit a growth spurt, and I had a friend that was coming out to California to do an internship. And I thought, well, maybe I could just go like live in California for the summer. YouTube could be quote unquote my summer job. It's like it at the very least made me enough money that I could pay for rent for the entire summer. So we'll just see what happens. It was very much just like there's really nothing to lose here. It seems like it'll be at the very least a fun time. And I never left. everything continued to grow from there. And I think the decision to go there, first of all, was huge. I'd never lived anywhere other than Minnesota, never had lived on my own before. And then the decision to stay and drop out of college and take that type of a risk, like, no one can advise you to do that. That's not a part of anybody's plan. It's just following what you feel is right for you and hope it works out.
Where were you going to college?
I was going to college at St. John's University in Minnesota. It is an all-boys private school, so as someone who was in the closet, was very weird. Spooky.
What made you choose it?
My family members had gone there, so it was actually really fun because my brother was a 5th-year senior at the time, and my sister is 2 years older than me, so we all got to go to college. She was on a campus that was like 10 miles away. We all got to go to school kind of together, and I feel like if we didn't have that experience, we may not have been as close as we are now, but because we had that experience, I was like automatically involved in friend circles. I automatically had my siblings to rely on there. It was all like perfectly set up, and I'm so thankful for it now in hindsight.
And you were on 3 sports teams as well, right?
Yeah, I was cross country, swim team, and track. I was in high school. I was a national competitive athlete in swimming and a state competitor in cross country as well.
Did you feel like you were playing a role?
Not. Yes and no. Not in terms of athletics, but in terms of like, I just don't even think I had the role. Like, I think I was just someone on the sidelines. I never felt like I had any individuality to myself. I never felt like there was even a part to play in a way, and not in like a sad way. It wasn't like, woe is me, I don't have an identity. I just, now looking back, I think like, who was I? I felt like just like a guy participating in high school. That's it.
I guess the reason I ask is because this image of you studying business with your siblings, part of the community, playing all these sports is very like all American. That's what it conjures to me.
Incredibly so. I feel like when people think of like the traditional American family, for better or for worse, it kind of is what my family is. Where it's my 2 parents that are still married. They've only ever married and loved each other. There's 4 children, and we all went to Catholic church every Sunday. We all like loved each other and did well in school and sports. And like, I don't know, it's like, it's the again, like the archetype of the American family. It's not actually the American family, but it's what people wrote about like 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
I was watching a video where you solicited questions from your mom. And one of the questions was, what drives you nuts about Dad and me? It was 5 questions. The title was 5 Things My Parents Don't Know About Me.
Oh, God.
What drives you nuts about Dad and me? And I was so impressed with that question because my mom would never submit. She would be like, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think like, I don't know that I would necessarily, I would and I wouldn't want to know. Like, I feel like that's pretty brave of your mom.
Oh, without a doubt. My parents are incredibly brave, and both of them are incredibly curious. My dad is probably the most curious person I know. He just is so interested in the world and how it works. And I think it's where I get my general curiosity. And my mom is no different. They actually both met in the Peace Corps. So they were both volunteering their time in Togo, on an island in Togo. And I think that just defines who they are as people, and has since that moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my parents asked me that question. I don't know if it's like that they knew that there was nothing bad was going to come out, but I could tell that she genuinely would want to know the real answer. Do I know what I said? No, I have no idea what I said.
You said that your dad has some bad habits and develops new bad habits.
Yeah, he's a little bit unaware sometimes of like mouth noises and breathing.
You said he and you pick up his bad habits like loud eating.
It's why I feel like, not to self-diagnose, but I feel like I have that. What's that? Misophonia or something?
Yes.
Where you're sensitive to sounds. And I'm like, is it my dad or is it my brain?
Right.
I don't know.
But what kind of loud eating? Is there like smacking happening?
It's that just like that there's like a lack of awareness of when you're just, I feel like I'm so conscious of when I would be annoying to someone that I'm like, he doesn't even know. He's just eating with his mouth open and just like, or like just breathing like, I'm like, what are you doing? Are you okay? Should I call 911? Christ. Just has no idea, which you can't be mad at him because he has no idea. It's not on purpose.
Have you always been close with your parents?
Yes, I feel like I've gotten even closer the older I get, though, which is, I feel really lucky to have that feeling. Like we all have a family group chat. I call one of them every other day just for a quick little check-in. And, they're I guess like friendship and opinion and involvement in my life is deeply important to me.
How did they feel about you leaving college?
They were so since they're Midwestern parents, they were so passive aggressive about it, where it was like, no, you can't do this, or like, no, you should definitely keep thinking about this. This isn't going to happen. You can't do that. But like still involving me in the conversation, even though they internally had already made up the decision.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know how to tell you this any other way. I just know this is right. Like we can't deny the fact that I've gone from, like, I think it was at the time, it was like 100,000 YouTube subscribers to 1 million in just like a summer. I was like, something is happening. Like something is happening. And if I deny it, it could be like a fire that I put a blanket over and it's been put out. And I feel like I need to give at least a semester to see what happens if I let the fire blaze. And after I swear to God, I made like a PowerPoint presentation or something about why I should do this. But after I had said it, I think it was just the ease of just give me one semester and we'll see what happens. That they said fine, but they weren't fine with it, but they said fine.
So how did it happen? How did you, what made you start on YouTube?
I was just always looking for a creative outlet. I think it was a case of right place, right time, because not many people honestly like even knew about YouTube in high school days. They knew about viral videos. Like everyone knew about a viral video they had watched. But no one was like an avid YouTube watcher. So to not even have that level of awareness, let alone that people were making individual content daily, weekly, and also making a career out of it, no one was aware of it. So I stumbled upon it and became deeply infatuated and interested in the process. And I was like, I need a creative outlet. I've always wanted to edit videos or take photos or do something. And I've never been able to. So I would do my homework at night. I would get done. I would eat dinner, do that whole thing. I would shut my bedroom door, and then I would turn on my laptop camera and just like film something and then edit something and then put it on my YouTube channel and then just go to bed.
And was that like I would, editing an iMovie, or did you have?
It was, yeah, whatever. I think at the time I had an HP laptop, and then I eventually went to an Apple MacBook, and that's when everything changed because it comes with such great movie software that it made everything much more fun. But I was so interested in the process of I could just film like for 60 seconds and it's like, what can I make that clip? Like what sound effects, what text, what transitions, what anything can I do to elevate that clip? And it could be anything. And like no one else can make this exactly as I would make it right now. It's like a fingerprint. It was so interesting to me, and I was so in love with the process. I was uploading like 5 videos a week to nobody, to an audience of nobody, just for fun.
And so then how did it start catching on?
I think I just became quite savvy to trends before they were trends, or clicky titles before they were clicky titles. Like I don't even know if the word clickbait was invented. When was the word clickbait invented? Probably within the last like 15 years.
Yeah,
so
that sounds about right.
I don't think I had a level of awareness to that I was even doing anything like that, or that like trending internet videos was a thing again. So I think it was just me noticing that without having the actual information on what I was doing, and just being aware of it and seeing what was working for other creators, and then just kind of like copying but adding my own little twist to it and evolving as I went.
Do you remember your first video that got a lot of views?
I never had one particular video that did well, but I started making friends on Twitter, and I started meeting other people that were my age that were doing a similar thing. There weren't many of us. It was a tiny community. and being like, oh my God, that kid in Texas is, also in college and he's also doing videos, and it seems like no one in his family also knows about it. It's like weird how there were copies of me around the United States or the world doing a similar thing. And we would just tweet each other and then follow each other and then sometimes like FaceTime each other. And it was just so weird how we were so similar in so many ways without knowing anything about each other. And because of that, then we would do like collabs with each other. If we were ever in the same state, we would try to meet up and do an in-person collab with each other. And then it became this whole thing of like growing each other from each other's fan bases.
Would I know, or would listeners know who any of these other people are that you're talking about?
I'm trying to think if your listeners would. I mean, like, so I eventually had a big collab channel called Our Second Life, which was one of the first collab channels of its kind. And it did incredibly well. We would upload every single day of the week, and each video would get over 1 million views. And so those people were like JC Kalen, Ricky Dillon, Kian Lawley, Trevi Moran, Sam Potterorf. But other people in my group were like Grace Helbig, Mabry Hart, Tyler Oakley. So like a lot of OG YouTubers at the time, but pretty much anyone that's like an OG YouTuber, I know them or I've met them.
Yeah. I've had a handful on the show. We had Michael Buckley, Grace Helbig.
Oh, Michael Buckley. I love Michael Buckley.
He talked about writing a mission statement for his life that he, and it was like, I remember it included the line like, I love myself so much that I don't need you to love me. He shared it with us on the show. Wow. And after that, this is, I feel cheesy admitting this, but I think I've admitted it on a different episode. I like wrote up my own little mission statement. And when I'm feeling a little bit lost, I go back and I look at it, and it has totally helped me make decisions and things like that. Cause it just kind of like makes me remember this is what my priorities are when I'm not under stress or being pushed in different directions. This is who I am and what I want to stand for. It really helped me.
That's lovely. He's had an amazing, not even like evolution, but just transformation as a person, where he's very into life coaching and very inspirational topics just like that. It's so cool to see everyone that I've known for over a decade now evolve and change.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah. So I've had Michael Buckley, Grace Helbig, Mamrie, Hannah Hart, Shane Dawson many times.
Oh, cool. Yeah, everyone's such a community. It was such a community at the time, a small community. And now that it's, mainstream successful and people are, coming out of it and being like mainstream celebrities, it's totally different. But I'm happy I was a part of the entire process.
I know, like Michael Buckley for sure, his feelings about YouTube changed. How do you feel about YouTube currently?
It only makes sense. Like everything, it's what happens to anything that becomes popular is it becomes popular and it attracts all the right and wrong kinds of people. It becomes a little bit more of a game, or I guess it becomes more of like a job at that point. At the time, it felt like our own little secret that everyone was doing for genuine fun. And now it's, when I meet people that want to get involved in YouTube that aren't already, it's always because it's a career. It's not I want to get involved because it looks so much fun. It's because, I want to get involved because I've seen X, Y, and Z make millions of dollars and become a mainstream celebrity. Versus at the time, that literally wasn't a thing. That was not a thought in my mind for the first 3 years of making videos because it had never been done. So there is a sense of innocence involved in that time that I, again, just appreciate that I was a part of. But at the same time, things change, and I can't knock people for getting involved now, because it really has. There have been some amazing content creators that have come out of just the last few years. So there's always a few bad apples.
There's kind of a similar thing that's happened with podcasting as well, I would say.
Oh, I bet.
And, the OG podcasters are it is so it's so different. Every time a humongous celebrity starts their podcast, it's okay, here we go again.
It's the same thing with YouTube channels. When celebrities started coming over, we're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Everyone said this wasn't cool, and now it's cool. What the fuck?
Right.
This isn't fair.
Yeah. Now everyone has a YouTube channel and everyone has a podcast.
I know. It's funny to see. I laugh when I see celebrities on TikTok now too, because it's the same thing where I'm like, this is so disingenuous. I could tell your like management or your label or your team is like, make like a gun to their head. Make fucking TikToks, Cindy. Make them. We want you to be successful, Cindy. And like you can just tell that it's just. It's like a team creating little 5-second videos, and it's kind of sad.
Right. Yeah. No, I totally agree. So OTL, Our Second Life, your collab group. What was the word you used to describe that? What's the term?
Boy band without the music.
Yes, your boy band without the music. Were you guys all spread? In my mind, you're all living in a house together, but you weren't, right?
Well, so we did eventually. We were like, when you think of like disturbing YouTube content houses now or like TikTok houses and stuff, we were the first one that did that unknowingly. Again, with total innocence. We all moved to California, moved into a house together, and created videos from that house together. And we had no idea what we were doing.
And what was the timeline from when you left college, moved to California, and when all that was happening?
Very quick.
Okay. So you kind of came to California to do that with them? Sort of?
Kind of. So like I came for the summer. So I moved in with two people for the summer in a small apartment. And then after we all decided to stay after the month of July, then it was like, okay, we should get a house. And then the rest of the people should come out live in the house too.
And Logan Paul was not there.
No, Logan Paul was not there. Jake Paul was not present.
Okay. There was no boxing. Floyd Mayweather never.
There was probably boxing at one point, like there were a few parties where I would like come out of my bedroom and be like, who the fuck is here? What the fuck is happening? Mm-hmm. There were some crazy times. Yeah, the police were called and did show up.
So before you were saying disturbing YouTube houses were a trend, you guys had one. And so if the police were coming out, it was a little disturbing at times.
I think it's just natural when like 20 to 23-year-old boys are involved in a house that just like something bad is gonna happen. By no means were we doing anything like truly heinous, but just like people are loud and you get a noise complaint and the police come and knock and stuff like that. So we weren't doing anything too bad, but
all of this sounds like the kind of story you would want to save in a hardbound book for your children. And I can tell you exactly how you could do that. You could do that with Storyworth. I don't know if you're familiar with Storyworth. Storyworth is the best. I gave this to my dad a couple years ago. And okay, so I have the kind of dad where I thought I'd heard every single one of his stories. But Storyworth, you sign up for it. It's a subscription. So each week, the person who you give it to receives a story prompt, a question, and you can customize it. You can go with the ones they suggest. You can write your own questions. And they respond to the prompts. And then at the end of the year, they take all the stories, put them into a beautiful hardbound book, and you have a book of memories. And like I was saying with my dad, I thought that I'd heard every single one of his stories. And through this, I learned so much about him. It's amazing. And I love having the book. I can't wait till my kids are old enough to read it. It just makes a wonderful holiday gift. This holiday season, I want you to give a gift to your loved ones that'll make them feel special and unique. And that is why you should be giving them Storyworth. With Storyworth, I'm giving those I love the most a thoughtful, personal gift from the heart and preserving their memories and stories for years to come. Go to storyworth.com/bestfriend and save $10 on your first purchase. That's storyworth.com/bestfriend. Save $10 on your first purchase. Also, speaking of memories and gifts, I want to tell you guys about Skylight Frame. Skylight Frame is this beautiful digital photo frame. You can email photos to it. It's very easy to set up. Before they were even a sponsor, Daniel said to me, hey, I know what we should give the grandmas for Mother's. It was either Mother's Day or Christmas. It was one of the big gifting holidays this year. And he showed me this frame and I said, that's great. We sent it to them. Neither of them are super duper tech savvy or They aren't tech savvy. I'm sorry if you're listening. I just gotta speak my truth. You're not tech savvy, okay? Mom, you text me about Apple stuff all the time and I don't know either. But there were 0 texts asking me how to get this frame up and running. She had that thing up and running. Basically just get it out of the box, plug it in. Whenever we go visit them, and also I have one now. my 4-year-old and my 2-year-old are able to swipe through. So it's very user-friendly and it's beautiful. And I love it so much. I love just looking at these. Mostly it's photos of my kids. If you get it, you could also put photos of my kids on it, but you don't have to. As a special offer, you can get $10 off your purchase of a skylight frame when you go to skylightframe.com and enter code Allison. That's right. To get $10 off your purchase of a skylight frame, just go to skylightframe.com and enter code Allison. That's Skylight Frame, SKYLIGHTFRAME.com, promo code Allison. Okay, we're back. So you're living in a house with all these dudes. You are...
Just me and a few bros, you know?
Just you and the
a few bros chilling in a hot tub because actually half of us were gay.
Oh, I didn't realize half of you were.
Well, I shouldn't say half of us were. Another one of us is gay, and then another one of us unknowingly is trans female. And the other three are just cool guys. You know?
They're the bros.
Yeah.
And you're making videos like how to know if a girl, or like how to let a girl know. What was the one? No, it was for ladies, for girls. And it was like, here are some ways you can know if a guy likes you. And you said that you had Googled it ahead of time. And then you were just, right. So you are being
painful.
You're pretending to be straight, or you weren't. You did know, right?
It's like a complicated thing. First of all, how dare you? Second of all, I'm hanging up.
Sorry.
Third of all, my therapist is calling very quickly. No, it's a very strange thing because it's like I knew that something was different about me and I was very aware of it, but I had repressed it so deeply that I think I thought either one, that it could be a phase, or two, that it just wouldn't ever happen or exist if I never acted on it. So for me, it was like I knew that there was a subtle fakeness to it all, but I also didn't know if in 10 years I would be different. I don't know. It's a very complex thing.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I guess what I'm wondering is with the other guys, that's not the correct language, actually. With the other people in the house.
I know. I had to think about that recently because one of our members coming out as trans, it's a very recent thing. So even when I say like boy band, I'm like, that's not fucking correct.
Right. Yeah. So with the other people in the house, was there any... I feel like I know the answer. But I'm asking it anyway. Was there any sort of acknowledgement between you of...
Did we kiss?
No, that's...
Are you asking if we kissed?
I'm not asking about making out.
Did we kiss?
I'm asking, was there any recognition that there was some trying to fit into a box that didn't fit?
Do you know what's funny is that there was more of a recognition of the other two than me. I think I was the surprise.
Okay.
And there was, very a few whispers here and there, but we were all very respectful of each other. And, it wasn't ever like an outright conversation. There was no like bullying or anything involved. It wasn't like typical kind of like high school shenanigans, but it was much more of a conversation about the other two than myself. So when I came out, I think technically before the other two, it was like a shock. I don't think they had any clue.
Right. And were you still in the group?
Say again?
Were you still in the person band? Without me, were you still in the collaboration house when you came out?
Yes. It was I let it all boil up as a Virgo does. And I decided to let it all out in the same day, which was right before our sold out US tour. I told them, hi, so I'm moving out after this tour. I'm leaving the channel. And also, I'm gay. And I told them all at the same time, all of them in front of me in a dark room. And I told them all of that at the same time. I was like, I'm just going to get it all off my chest. Let's go.
And how was that?
It was really sweet. It couldn't have gone better. They were all very compassionate and responsive to it and didn't act on any sort of initial I guess they didn't act on the fact that like their lives were also potentially changed because, I was moving out and leaving. They more fell into the role of like concerned friend because they could tell that it was hard for me to do that, which was it becomes more heartwarming the older I get. Those moments when you think about it,
That's so
about
sweet.
and like how it could have gone so many other ways, And I continue to feel lucky that it went the right way or the way it should have gone, I guess.
What made you want to move out and leave the group?
I still don't even really know if that was like the right decision, but I think it's one of those moments where you just realize everything is not right and you kind of decide, let's just spill the bucket and start over. So I think mine was like, I need to change and I need to change something quickly. And I already had my own channel and my own career as well. So I'm like, well, maybe if I just kind of like cut this sandbag off my boat, I'll be able to continue floating forward and things will be easier for me. Again, not much strategy involved. Just truly, it was like an idea I had and I thought, sure, this has got to be it. So let's do it. I guess it worked. It's not like I tanked right after that or something. I didn't sink.
How long had you been thinking you wanted to leave the group?
There was a decent amount of time prior. It was one of those things where I was putting in a lot of effort and it wasn't being reciprocated, and like no shade. I think again, like there's a lot of people a lot of them that were just like having a good time and just being young and not caring so much about like the potential opportunity that we had at hand. So I was having to do the role of accountant, manager, content scheduler, content organizer, and creator. I had to do it all because if I didn't do it, no one else was. And I think that weighed on me. And they were very unaware of like how much time and effort I was putting into making sure that was going smoothly, and it just ate me alive after a while.
Were you older than them?
Two of them are the same age as me, and then two of them are a few years younger, and then one of them is a lot younger than us. It's
sounding so much. I played in a band years ago. Tony is the drummer in a popular rock band currently, Motion City Soundtrack. Tony, this is sounding very much like band stuff. Are you relating to this?
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Yeah.
There's just a lot of cooks in the kitchen, a lot of opinions, a lot of it's just a lot of emotions get involved. Because again, at the end of the day, we all care about it, so it's hard to knock anyone for it.
Were there I think of you all in this house as like very young, although you were adults, but I was going to say like were there like stage parents, but not stage parents. Was there representation? Were there managers and just other adults involved?
So we got involved in the internet at a time where it was the beginning of that. So like YouTube networks were a thing. Managers had just become a thing. Agents weren't quite yet a thing. So we had very late on had got a YouTube network and a manager for us, but by no means was it that helpful, frankly. Like ads and opportunities weren't much of a thing at the time. So we got them, but it was a totally different ball game to what it is now.
Right. Okay. So you leave, you come out, and at some point you began writing your first book. So can you like talk a little bit about that? And I know at some point you were pretty depressed. Can you sort of fill me in on the timeline of that?
Oh, the whole time. There's just
the whole time.
Depression has been my best buddy the whole time. And again, like unknowingly, it's one of those things where when you become aware of it, you're like, oh, it's always been there.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the vocabulary or the wherewithal to acknowledge it. But yeah, at that same moment, I was also almost, I can't remember if it happened before that tour or right after. I think it might have been right after. That's when I started writing the first book. So I always write when I'm in like a heightened state of emotion. So everything's so visceral that it's easy to put pen to paper. And so that was a very easy time to write about. I was like, I could write 2 books right now. I have a lot going on in my mind, so I'll put it down.
That's really good. I mean, that's really good that that's your impulse to get it to get it out.
My notes app is just full of all my ideas, thoughts, everything. I write down little poems every day in there, and it's almost about going back and collecting them and then working them out into something that's presentable.
So can you explain what you just said about depression has always been there, you just didn't have the vocabulary to describe it? Like, what was it that you were feeling before?
It's almost like you think that everyone sees the world that you do, and then as soon as you meet enough people or experience enough of humanity, you start to realize that's obviously not true. And the more I met people, the more I started realizing, like, you don't like shut your bedroom door at night and cry and feel like an existential dread for seemingly no reason and don't tell anyone about it. That's weird. You don't also do that? I thought everyone did that. I thought everyone was anxious about everything all the time, or harboring deep secrets about themselves all the time. I just assumed to a certain extent that was normal in a weird way. So as soon as I started realizing it wasn't, and then I also realized, like, not everyone is gay. Not everyone is secretly gay. It became more apparent that, I guess I was a little unique in that stance.
Because I feel like you've described your childhood as really good and adolescence as enjoyable, which I was like, wow, imagine enjoying adolescence. I can't.
And isn't that funny? I feel fortunate because I have fond memories of growing up. I have fond memories of my childhood and everything, even though it was relatively simple. And even though, again, every time I would close my bedroom door, I was either making a YouTube video. I think that's why I started making YouTube videos too, was to avoid the depression at night, or to avoid the Sunday scaries, the late night thoughts,
right,
by doing something creative to distract me. I've never really thought that through until this very moment. But I think that was a reason why I needed an outlet so badly. But I look back on my childhood and my upbringing as relatively, glossy and sparkly. It's just very unique. It's not a lot of people feel that way.
So then, was there a period of time where the depression hit harder?
Oh yeah, there were. I think as soon as I moved out and went to college, it was the perfect storm of like it popping my bubble in a way where I'm like, oh, school is suddenly very hard because it's now hyper focused. Athletics, I'm suddenly not like the best in my school. I'm mid-tier. And then it's like, oh, I also have no idea what I want to do after this. And then also you have the crippling depression from like not wanting to tell anyone you're gay. But like all of that was the perfect storm of putting me in some like really dark spaces in college because I was just so isolated.
At what point did you start going to therapy?
Not till way later in my life. I'm really glad that the conversation of therapy has become much more normalized in the last 5 years or so, or a decade or so, because I didn't even think that was an option. I wouldn't even know where to begin as a child, a teenager, a young adult, anything. It wasn't until I moved to LA where it's practically like
required.
It's practically a part of your personality, to go to therapy. But as soon as I had a few friends that had therapists, and one of them really kindly recommended me his, and I set up a session probably when I was maybe like 22, maybe like 23, a little bit later than I should have. And I went to her, and I'm still with her to this day. I don't go as frequently, but I went very frequently during the heat of it all.
I don't know that it can be parsed out this way, but what I'm wondering is, how much do you think the depression was trying to suppress this part of your identity, and then also working through like who are you, and how much without that would you have had the depression, do you think?
I blame it all on being gay.
I knew
it. I blame it all on the gays. They caused the depression. Genuinely though, I wonder if I I wonder if it would be a part of me if I didn't have struggles with identity and orientation. I do deeply wonder that. I assume to a certain extent it wouldn't, or at least it wouldn't have been so severe. So I imagined that heightened a lot of it at the time. And then you add this whole budding element of fame, of, like my coming out video I posted got 12 million views. I went down the street to get a Starbucks the next day and the barista was congratulating me on being gay. So like it felt like everyone all of a sudden knew the thing that had caused me to like cry myself to sleep for 20 years. And all of a sudden everyone knew it, and it was a celebration, and it was deeply confusing why I was so scared of it or why it had plagued me for so long. And there were like levels of regret, but also levels of excitement and enjoy. So it's just so confusing. Like it's
right.
Even after the, no one talks about how even after the storm, it's confusing. It's always like the lead up to it. But the aftermath is so hard to pick up all the pieces.
Yeah, you're right. Everyone focuses on like, and then you live happily ever after. But that's not the case.
No. It's very confusing afterwards too.
Right. Well, you mentioned in House Fires, like needing to, there's a whole subculture, a whole culture of, queer culture. And you had to like sort of, no pun, bone up on all the terms and figure it all out. And
not bone up.
Am I going to get canceled? I feel like I'm coming. So I've been really just, I'm right on that line. No, I'm just.
No, you're fine. Are you kidding me?
Thank you. You mentioned that there was like a level of regret with the popularity of the video and being congratulated at Starbucks. Can you talk a little bit about what that regret was, what it felt like?
I think it's just this idea of like what could have been. I think I thought a lot about of like, oh, if I would have come out in high school, like my first relationship could have been with someone in my high school, or if I was out in college, I could have had a whole different college experience. I could have had different friends even. Like I could have had more friends. Who knows? Like maybe the whole YouTube thing wouldn't have happened, but maybe I would have, just like been a completely different person. So there's this idea of like a life not lived, even though you're satisfied with the life you have lived. It's still like, what would have been? What could have been? I have no idea. So you can't help but more wonder about it and kind of like daydream about it, even though it's not saying that I'm dissatisfied by any means with what the outcome is.
Right. No, that makes total sense. You know what else makes sense, Connor?
What?
The queen is in.
Yeah, I'm the queen of segues. The queen of segues has entered the chat. What makes sense is ordering your prescription skincare online without having to go to a doctor's office. I'm talking about Apostrophe. Look, as 2021 is coming to an end, I've started thinking about my New Year's resolutions. And one of my resolutions is I'm going to continue using I can never say it right. Tretinoin? Tretinoin. That's what it is. I was calling it tretinoin for many months. No one corrected me. It's tretinoin. It's generic Retin-A. I've been using it. I'm glowing. My skin looks better than it ever has. And then I'm also using a skin bleaching cream on some sunspots that I had, possibly age spots. I don't know, dark spots. I doubt you can even see them right now. It's made such a difference, and it's super. I've been feeling like I need to go to I've been doing this for a while now via Apostrophe, but I had been feeling like I need to go to a dermatologist, but I don't have one. I don't know who to go to. And then Apostrophe waltzed into my life, and it is so convenient. Fill out a questionnaire, take 3 pictures, upload them, get an email saying that your dermatologist, her name is Maggie, has put together a plan, and then you choose what you want of it. You can communicate with your dermatologist if you have specific concerns. Like I wanted to increase the strength a little bit if she felt like that was a good idea. Anyway, it's so great. And they have oral medications, acne stuff. And then they also have like the stuff I mentioned that can address other concerns. We have a special deal for our audience. Save $15 off your first visit with an Apostrophe provider at apostrophe.com/bestfriend when you use our code bestfriend. This code is only available to our listeners. To get started, just go to apostrophe.com/bestfriend and click begin visit. Then use our code bestfriend at sign up and you'll get your first visit for only $5. That's Apostrophe, APOSTROPHE allison.com/bestfriend and use that code bestfriend to get your dermatologist crafted treatment plan for $5. And we thank Apostrophe for sponsoring the podcast. I also want to talk to you guys about BetterHelp online therapy. We were just talking a moment ago about the stigma of therapy in some places. I'm spoiled here in California, or Southern California specifically, because I talk openly about how much therapy has helped me, and I've been going to therapy for a while. And I forget that not everyone is so open to it. Some people think you should wait until things are unbearable to go to therapy, but that isn't true. Therapy is a tool to utilize before things get worse, and it can help you avoid those lows. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. Give it a try and see why over 2 million people have used BetterHelp online therapy. And Allison Rosen listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/bestfriend. That's BetterHelp, BetterHelp.com/bestfriend. I want to tell you guys about Stance. I have become a Stance convert. I'm a Stance believer. All their apparel is so comfortable, soft. It's high quality. It's made really well. It's colorful. They have these fun collaborations with different like pop culture entities. Earlier today, I was wearing their combed cotton no-show socks. So comfortable. I'm telling you. Stance will change your life. Founded in 2009, Stance Apparel represents a radical reinvention of socks, underwear, and active apparel. With a sharp focus on comfort, quality, and creativity, Stance brings an atypical aesthetic alongside some of pop culture's hottest collaborators for the ultimate in style and self-expression, because everything you wear should be a direct extension of who you are and how you feel. So here are just some of the collaborations they have. Wu-Tang Clan, The Goonies. I feel like that is targeted directly to people my age, because that is hitting on, that's pushing my nostalgia button, pressing my nostalgia lever. Harry Potter, Bob Marley, Pixar. It's all so great. Stance believes that the perfect fit matters more than fitting in, that those who feel good do good. See for yourself. Register for an account at stance.com and get 15% off your first purchase. Use promo code Allison at checkout to apply. Enjoy the color and comfort of a life less ordinary with Stance. So again, that's stance.com, promo code Allison. Stance.com, promo code Allison. Okay. We are back. So I just wanted to possibly make you uncomfortable by reading one of your poems to you. And then asking you. Okay. This is called I Am My Own Loneliness. I felt alone before him. I felt alone with him. I felt alone without him. Maybe it's me. I related to that intensely, like a younger version of me. This feeling of, I feel homesick even though I'm home. Like, but can you talk about about that feeling, and do you have that feeling presently?
It's this kind of, I feel like the word or the feeling that encapsulates almost that entire book is this yearning or like a longing for something that you don't even know what it is constantly. I always almost just feel like I'm missing something, and no matter where I am, it's always just like even if it's just like the tiniest piece of me isn't quite there or is missing or is somewhere else, and I never know why that is. Why I feel like a sense of displacement in most moments of my life. And like that's a poem essentially about that, whether it's, you know, the reader can have it be like a literal person, or it can be a sense of self. It can be your own self. Like you never feel like you're with yourself, even when you're without yourself, or even when you're wanting to be with yourself. You just never feel quite there.
Do you ever have dreams where so I'm making this sound so vague. I'm going to talk about myself for a minute. I will have these dreams where, and it's usually a celebrity, which I feel like means something in a dream, but like someone that I kind of have a crush on returns my affection. And it's like everything in the dream is glowing. And it's sort of what I imagine people who are super religious and like really feel like they have a connection with Jesus. Like I imagine they must walk around feeling that way. It's like someone sees me in a real way and loves me, and I won't have to be alone anymore. And it's like a feeling that it's not a recurring, it is kind of a recurring dream, even though it changes a lot. But I don't think it's about someone else loving me. I think it's probably about acceptance or something. But do you ever have dreams like that?
That's so interesting. I have a similar reoccurring dream where it's like, it's never even like, sometimes it's not even, it's one of those where you wake up and you're like, I can't even remember like who that was, but it felt like someone familiar, or it felt like someone that I know in some way, but I can't remember already. But it's like, it's almost like that person's like hugging me, or that person's with me. And you're right. It's like a warming sensation or a glowing sensation of the dream, and like nothing happens. I just know that it's like a very normal situation with someone there, and I feel peaceful and safe, and I wake up feeling really great from it. And I'm like, what does that mean? Yeah. There's got to be something about that, and I don't know what it is either.
I mean, I think it's that person is probably you.
It could be. Yeah, it's like you could take a lot of angles from it, and it never leaves me in like a, oh my God, what is that? Why do I keep having this? With anything, I'm like grateful I have it, because I'm like, that was such a nice dream.
Right, it feels so good.
I have no idea who it was, or what it was about, but I'm like, that was so pleasant. Wonder why that keeps happening. Will that go away at some point, or is it just now just a part of the cycle? Right there with me forgetting my locker combo and being late to a class I can never quite get to.
Yes. Tony, do you have school anxiety dreams?
I did when I was younger. I haven't had one in a long time. I weirdly don't have a ton of dreams that I remember, and I've never.
Okay, uncreative Tony. Just kidding.
Hey. The main recurring dream that I ever have, though, and it still will happen every now and then, it will be that I am about to play a show, literally about to walk on stage, but I cannot get my shoes on.
Oh,
they just will not go on my feet, and then I'm freaking out. And then the other version is that I sometimes get out on stage, and my drums are just scattered all around the stage. Like none of them they're not together. And like the rest of the band has already started the song, and I'm like, what? Well, yeah. So those are my two.
Painful.
Yeah.
That's painful.
Connor, do you have YouTuber dreams? Is that a thing?
No, I have general like disorganization dreams, a similar type of dream where it's just like I haven't prepared for something, or something isn't quite right, and I'm trying to figure it out, but of course I never do. And like that is the entire dream, and I wake up stressed as hell from it.
Yes.
But it's nothing. Yeah, nothing. I have a lot of great like fantastical, just fantasy dreams where like I'm in like a mythical type world, and like everything is very Harry Potter-esque or Lord of the Rings-esque, and like they're very vivid but very weird. So much so that I can't even describe to you them now.
It is cool though when you wake up from a dream and you're like, that could have been a movie. My mind,
yes.
What a great plot. I jotted down a few notes here. Odd numbers freak you out?
I don't like odd numbers. No, I do not at all. I like numbers. If you tell me a number, I'll remember it for years.
But not your locker combination.
No. Or, I mean, I have the muscle memory of that. I bet if I went to my locker in high school, I could do it. Couldn't tell you what the numbers are now, though.
So,
but odd numbers, no. Yeah.
So, like, how does the dislike of odd numbers manifest?
I don't know. I wonder if that's just me being annoying.
No. I guess what I mean is, like, if you're like when it's, for the year that you're an odd number age, is that a bummer?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, like in like 2021, I'm like, oh, can't wait for 2022. How delicious does that year look like?
Yes,
when I was thinking
2020 was so great.
I know. I remember feeling that way about it. Oh. But like I did that with like my book publishing date. I was like, oh, what if we push it 1 week because that number looks better? I've always done things like that. I'm like, I don't know, that number just looks better. It's better for advertising. It's better to say.
Are you superstitious?
Gives me a better feel. Not so much. I do have a few superstitious habits where like I'll always touch the airplane before I get on, or I'll like knock on wood, but that's about it. That's the extent of it. Are you?
I always say I'm not, and then it's like but, and then it's like the fine print, When people open an umbrella indoors, I'm just like, what are you doing? You're asking
Really?
for bad luck. I told the story before, but went umbrella shopping with my mom, and she just nonstop opening umbrellas inside. And I was like, I can't with this right now. This is just begging for something bad to happen. So I do have a thing about that. And then also I have a rule with myself, which is if I have a magic 8-ball, I'm not allowed to ask it life and death questions because otherwise I'll just freak myself out. I can only ask it little questions. But other than that, no, I'm a very logical person. No superstitions.
Interesting.
I think we should do Just Me or Everyone. And we have a song.
Sometimes I ponder on something I have thought or done. Is it just me or everyone?
Okay, this is a segment where people write in with things they think or do, and they wonder, is it just me or is it everyone? And if you would like to send one of your own, tweet it to @ARIYNBF. Use the hashtag JMOE, just me or everyone. And that's how you do that. Okay, Connor, do you have one of your own?
Okay, is it just me or does everyone, before they go out to eat or go to a restaurant, do you look at the menu ahead of time and completely like practice and rehearse your order? Like I know exactly what I'm going to get ahead of time and it won't change, just so that I can I can de-stress and sit down and already know what I'm going to get and I don't have to think about it.
I feel like that's more of a life hack than a just me or everyone, because as you were because yes, I look at the menu ahead of time often, but I don't practice it and get it down to a, airtight situation. However, I do hate the feeling of being in a restaurant, wanting to talk to the person, especially if it's someone I want to catch up with, or if it's a businessy thing where I feel self-conscious, but being okay, I got to block out all that and focus on the menu. You're right. If you get it done ahead of time, then you can be present for the awkwardness of the encounter.
It's the worst. I hate the push of the restaurant server that's do you know what you want? Do you know what you want? Do you know? And you have to keep pausing your conversation to then look, but not fully look, and then forget that you need to look. And it's this whole awkward dance of trying to figure out what you want to eat. It's so frustrating. It feels like people are getting more and more, maybe this is just LA, people are getting more and more pushy to get you out of the restaurant as quick as possible.
I think so.
And I'm there to chill.
Yeah.
I'm there to have a good time.
I think especially in the pandemic where everyone's trying to sit outside, although I don't think it's like that as much now, but I do think there's you can have the table for X amount of time and then we're kicking you out. Tony, where are you with ordering and looking ahead of time?
I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't usually look ahead of time, and it's almost weirdly a sort of social anxiety crutch sometimes for me to still have that menu to look at. Maybe it's like an out sometimes, not an out, but you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I won't look ahead of time, and then as far as the rehearsing thing, I'll definitely then when I decide. There have been times that I didn't order something at a restaurant because I maybe didn't know how to pronounce it and I didn't want to sound stupid.
Isn't there nothing worse than having to point at it and being I'll have this one at the Italian restaurant? Yep. It's so deeply embarrassing.
Yeah.
This is going to make me sound really provincial. I don't love when at an Italian restaurant, everything is in Italian. Who is that for?
I almost have to agree. Also, I don't like that Italian restaurants don't specify what's vegetarian and what's vegan, because as a vegetarian, I randomly order some cured meat that I had no idea was a cured meat.
Oh, is that a thing across the board they don't indicate?
Most ones that I've been to recently, there's not a V in sight.
Italian restaurants.
And most places I've been to, there ain't a V in sight.
Italian restaurants, get on it. Was that a joke that I just missed?
It was a vagina.
Oh, okay. To me,
I don't know.
To me, V, I was thinking virgin, and I don't know why though.
When was the last time I did see a virgin? That's an interesting question. Who was the last virgin you saw?
I mean, My kids.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, when was the last time I was around a child?
Right. Okay, here's one. But I'll read it, but we might not know who. Okay, Stunt Panda says, even if I were Matt Jones' mother, I would still think a phone call from Greg Heller was my son, and I'm a dude. Does anyone know who Matt Jones is? Is this a sports person?
I have no idea. It's almost like you just spoke a different language.
I know the language of people who listen to the show. This is Matt Jones.
Oh, sorry. I've started to Google. Who is it?
I'm holding a picture.
Oh,
of
yeah,
him.
he was Badger on Breaking Bad. That's who I thought it was.
Oh,
okay.
Yes. Okay, so Greg Heller is a former regular on my show. Comes out twice a week. Monday is a one-on-one like this one. Thursday is a group show. Greg Heller is a former regular, and he has a very specific voice. Tony, can you play a drop of his so we can hear what his voice sounds like?
Most people think I'm a fat old guy from New York.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh my God.
He sounds
that's not
exactly like Badger.
That's not the character. Oh
no.
my God.
Wait, Tony, play more of his drops.
Boner sandwich.
That's great. I love a soundboard.
Sounds so much like him.
That's fairly bananas, I would say.
I never really put that in my head. They sounded different, but then now that I'm playing them, yeah, I can kind of see it.
They sound a lot alike.
It's like the raspiness, but also there's a little bit of a pitch there too. Like it's like a curve of like the pitch goes up at the end, not at the beginning or something.
Yeah.
I can hear it. It's nice.
Okay, Jonathan Pierce says, whenever I know obscure facts, I feel the need to explain why I know it so people don't think I'm a weirdo. I don't know that I feel the need to explain it, but I do find if I learn something new and I'm sharing it, I don't pass it off like this is something I knew. I'll say like, oh yeah, I was reading something today, or I just saw a video about this. Whereas my husband, and this is not a Daniel bashing show, although this episode does seem that way. I feel like he just sneaks them in like they're his own knowledge. He doesn't cite his sources as much.
Interesting. Yeah. I love a quick fact though. Anyone who has a fun fact, it's my favorite. I do it all the time. But I do the same thing. I don't cite my sources. It's usually just, I did not just hear this on a podcast 10 minutes ago.
I'm trying to think.
I studied up.
I'm trying to think of any fun facts I've accrued recently.
None are coming to mind.
No.
I probably
Damn it.
Nope,
Tony, fun fact?
Got nothing.
Oh, I feel like I'm the king of these, but yeah, I feel now I'm on the spot though. I think I brought this up on the show before because then you like immediately knew who the name of the person I was talking about. The same person wrote the theme song for Sesame Street and Three's Company.
Whoa. Didn't
Joe
know that.
Raposo?
That's interesting.
Yeah, Joe Raposo.
Oh, we got to play our fun fact drop.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Where are my manners?
That's a fun fact. There you go. That is Jackie Johnson.
Good tones.
Connor, you were paired up with Jackie or against Jackie on Dave Holmes' trivia show, right?
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, is it the Jackie Johnson whose podcast I'm going on potentially tomorrow?
Oh, Natch Butte.
Yes. She's great.
She's great.
So smart.
Man, I hope I didn't scoop her with the info about your shampooing, conditioning, and skincare. We didn't get too much into the skincare, though, so she can still get the exclusive. Okay, Wendy.
Who can upload first?
What did you say?
Who can upload first?
Be a real
race.
A real race. This is on a set schedule. This will air Monday. However, this is reminding me, and I'm wondering if you ever had a similar thing with anyone. When I lived in New York, I had a friend, and we would make videos together, and there really was like a race to see who could. I mean, I hate like admitting that. I think we even talked about it. There was this competition to upload faster. Did you ever have that with someone?
Oh, it was. I'm glad that I don't really participate in the trendiness of content creation nowadays, where like some like especially with TikTok where there's like a sound that's really hot and people are making videos about it all day every day, and then the sound's not hot the next day it's a new one. But no, there was definitely back in the day, it was more of like when someone would make a video, like one of those videos of like 10 things guys hate that girls do.
Right.
Like that was the first person to ever make that video. So when people saw it doing well, everyone would be like, well, I got to do 10 things that girls hate that guys do. Or I got to do, it would spark this like revolution of people trying to fill in that category. And I definitely heavily participated in that for a while.
Yeah. That sounds stressful. Okay, here's the last one. Wendy W. says, headlights from oncoming traffic seem insanely bright these days. Are my eyes getting old, or is the new regular the old high beams? Interesting question. I feel like maybe headlights are getting brighter.
I've had that thought
I'd
before.
imagine it's something to do with the light bulbs.
Yeah.
I bet they probably have changed. They probably are brighter.
Because some cars have daylights too. Do mine? I don't even know.
Mine all now they're all like automatic, or a lot of like the newer cars, they just turn on for you. So I don't even think about headlights anymore.
Yes.
They just do it.
Here's a just mirror, everyone. Nothing makes me feel dumber than realizing that I accidentally turned on my high beams though, and I've been driving around in like a parking structure with them just blinding people.
Definitely. Shout out to my dad. He used to do that all the
Yeah, it's
time.
a real parent thing. So I guess I could own it, but it's more of like a grandparent thing. Connor, it was so nice having you on the show. Thank you so much for coming on. Everyone go out, buy House Fires. Again, I'm holding it up. I will put a link to it in the episode summary. But tell people where they plug all your things.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's my new book, House Fires. It's out everywhere you can get books. It's definitely a great holiday gift for anyone of all ages. You don't have to know me to enjoy it. It's a lot of small takes on the very big world that we live in. So it's for everyone. And at the very least, it's a pretty coffee table book.
It is.
And you can find it at connorfrantabooks.com or just follow me anywhere under Connor Franta.
Nice. And if you like what you're hearing, please make sure you are subscribed so you get the episodes automatically. You don't miss anything. Please leave us a nice comment on Apple Podcasts. It helps out the show, helps people find the show, etc. Follow me on social media at Allison Rosen on Twitter and Instagram. I am on Patreon as well. Bonus content, episodes of The Friend Zone. There's a level where you can text me and I'll text you back. You can watch the Thursday show videos, communicate with me, be a part of a community of people. Patreon.com/Allison Rosen. If you sign up for an annual subscription, you get 2 months free, 12 months for the price of 10. I already said follow me. Yes, I already did all my things. Tony, what about you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at
Tony Thaxton.
and my podcast Bizarre Albums every Tuesday, and get those Motion City soundtrack tickets if you haven't gotten them yet, because if you live in the US, we'll be coming somewhere near you in January or February.
Wonderful. Connor, thank you so much. This was so much fun. Listeners, thank you for listening. You matter. I love you. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Allison Rosen show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. Yeah, Allison Rosen, here's your new band.